which in human terms, the terrestrial level might be interpreted as a call for the unknown, a joy of danger and difficulty and adventure. See, now that's a heroic statement, you see. Yes, you have to be heroes. The will to attain the impossible, the will to attain the impossible. That is the greatness of the divine soul. Yes, there is a negative possibility, full of harm, danger, or what you want to call it, but it is a call for the adventure. It is an attempt of the impossible, to work out the incalculable, the will to create the new and uncreated, the will to work out the new. That is what the soul will do by that kind of thing. And the uncreated with one's own self and life and the material, the fascination of contradictories and their difficult harmonization. It is the purpose of the soul which has to bring out the harmony of all these conflicting aspects of existence here. It is that which has to happen. The soul is attracted because of its negative possibility. It is good, it has happened. Because then it is that soul which will bring out the harmonization of these conflicts here. To the original being of light on the verge of the descent, the one thing unknown was the depths of the abyss. How deep it is in conscience, the poor fellow up there did not know. It didn't gauge the depth of this abyss because it is the abyss of the infinite himself, and it could not gauge. The possibility is the divine, the ignorance and inconscience. What is the possibility here? The soul up there could not gauge there. Because the inconscience too is infinite. Why the inconscious is infinite? Because it is the infinite himself. In other words, everything is locked in the possibilities of the inconscience for the emerge. And what new dimensions will constantly emerge, that the soul from above could not emerge, could not guess. Why? Because it didn't have the experience of inconscience. Unless it enters into inconscience, how can it guess the possibility? That abyss, how deep it is, it cannot stay there unless it enters into it. You see. Having appeared, this possibility must be worked out. Yes, now that you are helpless, it is there, so you have to work out. You have to carry out the work. You cannot leave it now. You have to work. That is the appearance in a certain sense, part of an incalculable infinite wisdom. So there is great wisdom in the creation of this inconscient world. It is in this inconscient world, the shadow, the truth which is there, the soul gets attracted by the shadow and plunges into that shadow to work out the possibility. And then he says, by a working out with its phenomenal opposites at the starting point. So they become the opposites now. Evil becomes an opposite for good. Wrong becomes an opposite for right. Joy is the opposite of suffering, which has come out of it. They have to happen. Evolution, the condition. So that is the original sin now which you have to deal with. It is in this was embraced the will of the great sacrifice. This plunge of the divine soul into this abyss, that is the great sacrifice. That is the great sacrifice. And unless that sacrifice is done, things cannot open. By yatna, by sacrifice, the new creation begins. He has sacrificed his royalty, his majesty, his loftiness, his greatness, his aishwarya, his lordliness, and assumed the state of lowness here. By that thing, from this lowness, great things will arise. So unless the sacrifice is done, great things cannot arise from here. The descent of the divine itself in the inconscient, that is the sacrifice. The descent of the divine into inconscient, that is the sacrifice. The supreme realities which lie behind these images assume the divine form. So they look to you as if they are images, but behind those images there are divine forms, natural, implied, etc., etc. Yeah. This is indeed only the truth of the manifestation as it presents itself to the consciousness when it stands on the border between eternity and the descent into time. When you stand up there, then you see this truth of manifestation. Until then, you claim, you say, your God has created this world, but not that when you are right here. It is only when we rise in the spirit beyond the zone of darkness and struggle that we enter into the full significance of it, and there is deliverance of the soul from its enigma. That was the enigma of Savitri's mother, and that is resolved and received. Full significance of it, and there is the deliverance. To rise to that height of liberation is a true way out and the only means of the indubitable knowledge. All right, we acquired that thing, but that's not enough again, you see. But the liberation, yes, you have transcended all that thing, but the liberation and the transcendence did not necessarily impose a disappearance. You can be liberated, you can transcend that thing, but that does not mean that you have to necessarily disappear from here. You have a certain kind of an obligation to fulfill here. You cannot just walk away from here. You cannot just, it is not necessarily impose a disappearance. That is Shivandu again, the positive philosophy of Shivandu. A sheer dissolving out of the manifestation that is not allowed in Shivandu's system of yoga. Disappearance is not allowed out of manifestation. You cannot go into laya, disappear, dissolve into somewhere else. It can prepare a liberation into action, but if you liberate yourself, you conquer that thing not for disappearance, but to liberate into action. You have to carry out certain action here. Or the highest knowledge and the intensity of power that can transform the world. After deliverance, etc., you have an obligation. Don't disappear. You have an obligation to transform the world. With that knowledge, that power, live here and carry out the divine role here and fulfill the evolutionary urge. You have to be a part of the evolutionary urge. It is an ascent from which there is no longer a fall. Once you have accepted this creation also as a part of joyous evolution, then it is not a fall at all. It is progress, 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 continuous progress. It is what is inherent in force of being, manifesting, manifest as becoming. Being, manifest as becoming. Yes, you have to become. It is that force which is becoming here. But what that manifestation shall be, its terms, its balance of energies, its arrangements of principles, depends on the consciousness which acts in the creative force. It is she who will decide that consciousness. If she comes here as life, she will manifest the aspects of life. If she comes here as mind, she will aspect. If she comes here as power, light, joy, beauty, love, it is that which will manifest here. Depends upon her. Its arrangement of principle depends on the consciousness which acts in the creative force, on the power of consciousness which being delivers from itself for manifestation. It is the nature of being to be able to grade and vary its powers of consciousness and determine according to the grade and variation its world or its degree and scope of self-revelation. It is for each individual to express his individuality in that consciousness. It is that which is the appearance, not the disappearance. That is the appearance. The manifested creation is limited by the power to which it belongs. Obviously, if it is the power of life, which manifests, then the creation will be limited by the powers of life. If it is mind, it will be limited by mind. If it is supermind, it will be the expression of supermind. So it is that which automatically puts its own conditions, boundaries of operation. This is what is happening in the evolution of consciousness in our world. A world of inanimate matter producing under the stress of this necessity a power of life, a power of mind which bring into it new forms of creation and is laboring to produce, to make, descend into some supramental power. It is making an effort there. His true stuff of walking, man, is made out of a fire of faith. If you have developed that conviction in your soul, then that becomes the support for you to walk forward. Faith. Now he is coming to some occult aspect of it, not the philosophical. Faith. Than any ascertained and indubitable light of knowledge, it is the soul's faith that soul has come here for a certain purpose and soul is taking you forward. But in itself, this should change nothing in the creation here. Still, he is saying he wants to change this creation. Nothing would change his creation. The evasion of a liberated soul from the world makes to the world no difference. The world remains as it was, obviously. And that has been the tragedy of all spiritual attainments so far. They have done great things spiritually, but the tragedy has been that they have liberated themselves, but the world has remained what it was all along, miserable, suffering, etc. But this crossing of the line, if turned not only to an ascending, but a descending purpose. Yes, from mortality to immortality, from darkness to light, from falsehood to truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, amruto ma mrityo ma amrutogamaya. All these things are there. That is the ascending possibility. But what about the descending? It is not from darkness to light, but that light should enter into darkness. That immortality should enter into mortality. That bliss should enter into this painful creation. That is required now, not this way, but also that descending purpose would mean the transformation. That is the whole thrust of it. The descending purpose would mean the transformation. It would mean, the transformation would mean a new creation on earth. So Shivandu has come back now to his basic thing.
So it will never end.
Never. Why should it?
After the supramental, we will start again.
The supramental happiness.
No,
Yeah.
it means after the supramental, we will start again all this
No,
again.
it's not again. No,
One minute.
you start creating things now yourself in the supramental vision and force and light. You start doing things now with that supramental established in you. It is that which will bring out what is there in you. It is not again. See, all that is which is locked in you, which is hidden in you, which is potential in you, that has to emerge with the supermind.
Yes, but I understood one time that the creation cycle, it will end after the supramental. I know. So
Yeah.
now I understood that always we are going to repeat this.
No, it's not repeat. It is now a new possibility which is opening out to you in the consciousness of supermind. You are doing now things in the consciousness of mind.
Not to us as a being like
To everybody, to the creation itself. To the creation itself. You and me are examples, are ways of speaking.
yes, but not in this consciousness.
See, unless this, see, if the supermind has to work out, it will work out in its own way, not the way in which we think today. What is really locked within you as a divine element, if that cannot come out in full expression today, because of your limited consciousness. But the moment you open out to the supramental consciousness, that limitation is gone and you express your trueness in that supramental consciousness. That is what the purpose. It is not, it is in essence a new creation. You are no more that. It is only in such a full flood of the realized spirit that the embodied being could know in the sense of all that was involved in it. Yes, there are so many things already locked in you. You are not aware of it because your consciousness has not developed. But if supermind takes possession of it, it will know all that is locked within you. The inconscience is too infinite. Every aspect of inconscience which is there is crying for expression, and that becomes possible with the supramental consciousness. Is crying for expression. That becomes possible with that. You see. In the sense of all that was involved in it, the meaning and temporary necessity of this descent into the darkness and its conditions, and at the same time dissolve them by luminous transmutation into a manifestation here of the revealed. Here, not up there, here. Okay. And no longer of the veiled and disguised or apparently deformed divine. It is in its full blaze now, in its full perfection, full completeness now it is there. In other words, when that consciousness has really entered in you, all that was kept dormant until now, lying unexpressed there. It is crying for expression, and it is that which is emerging constantly. And that is what is going to be the result of this progressive evolution entering into supermind. That is the new creation. Well, this is what Shivandu wrote in June 1933 to Maurice McGray, and thanks to him, that this whole thing has come out in a condensed form. The entire life divine is present here in a condensed form. So if you really understand this letter, it means that you have really mastered life divine. You see, perhaps, you see, perhaps. Still we can see. And this was written in 1933, Mindville, which is also significant in a certain sense that what was spiritually realized and established by Shivandu in him is what is expressed in this letter. But many things happened afterwards in him. Many great things happened afterwards. Those we can perhaps just imagine or guess from this letter. But those are also expressed Shivandu in Savitri. What had happened after that. Those means if you want to really enlarge this letter of June 1933, you have to read all these 24,000 lines of Savitri. 24,000 lines of Savitri. Whatever is involved there is there, you see. So basically, the whole idea was Savitri's mother's question, is this your God who had created this harsh world? Finds a full expression in Savitri. Narad gives in his own manner a direct, immediate answer. Immediate answer. But all the implications which are locked in that question, they get unfolded in different places, in different manners in the text of Savitri. It keeps on happening all the while. It is there, you see.